shall see. Okay. Is it back on?
Not yet.
Seeing it's live. Yes, okay, it's back on. It looks like it's some.
There we go.
Okay. All right. All right. I love how it when it clicks off what it says on what it says on Facebook when you come back on is it says Earl Purdy was live.
Actually, I don't have the live one yet. I just have the old one.
Yeah, it's a bunch of people showing up on here that's writing. It's another one. It's another one up on mine too.
On your page?
Mm-hmm.
Go on your page.
It's on mine also. So it's another one that's it's on right now.
Good. Notice it. Where you put it.
Okay. So, okay. Welcome to the Way of Mastery again. And I'm Earl Purdy, and we're going to go into the Way of Mastery. We did a good jam, but we're going to get started now. So we're going to be on page 306 in the Way of Mastery, and we're going to cover some of the material, and then we're going to discuss it. Page 306 in part 3, the Way of Knowing. And I'm going to start with the paragraph that says, as purification begins to touch the most fundamental and most radical levels, what happens is the sweetness of peace begins to be remembered. So that's telling us that at the point that you've really begun to let go of a lot of the blocks and you really begun to do the things that's being suggested in the Way of Mastery, that the way you can tell when you've actually done the purification and the purification is starting is that you will start to feel the sweetness of peace, and it will begin to be remembered, and your peace will begin to be remembered faintly at first, and then you start to experience peace more and more. What I've discovered about that is it doesn't mean that there may not be things that come up that you choose to hear or experience that seem like they might be upsetting to you at your own choice. But you will not get upset about getting upset. You will not get upset about the fact that you got upset. And you won't be getting upset about the things that show up. So you begin to have much more tolerance of all the stuff that your own ego throws up to try to keep you in some level of unhappiness. I think one of the biggest misperceptions that people have about being on the spiritual path is that it means that they're going to always feel good about everything that's happening all day long, rather than you not allowing yourself to get so bent out of shape about the things that come up all day long. So as purification begins to happen and you begin to heal your mind, peace begins to be remembered. And then it says one has a realization, remember that the whole journey is merely a journey with no distance to it, toward a goal that's never changed. So actually, to get to my peace, I don't have to go anywhere. It's not like I got to go 10 feet out in front of the church and then bingo, all of a sudden I'm feeling good. Peace doesn't have anything to do with distance. Oh, when I go to Hawaii, then I feel peace. The Course is saying that you're on a journey to peace that doesn't have a distance. And the goal has never changed because your goal has always been your happiness and your peace. So it's really just a change of mind. It's really just a remembrance. A remembrance of what? Remembering the truth. Remembering who I really am. Remembering what's really important. Remember what's really valuable, which is love. Sounds corny, but it's exactly what I want. I want to experience some love. That's what I want.
Me too.
I want love. You too?
Yeah.
Yeah, I want love. Now, I also have to remember, I don't have the slightest idea what I'm talking about when I say I want love. Because I know love must not be what I think it is. So I really want love, but I also am going to admit that I don't know exactly what that is yet. Then it says the realization then may be the recognition that, oh, I used to think this way, but now I see the emptiness of such silly things. And don't you think that we all go through that of looking back and realizing that we allowed ourselves to get upset about things now that we realize we shouldn't have ever allowed ourselves to get upset
Right.
about, right?
Yeah.
She says that quickly, that fast, it's over. It's gone. So where did the illusion go? Well, the illusion got erased by the cosmic eraser. And on the end of the pencil held by the Holy Spirit, which is your loving right mind. Because of your desire, your attention, your allowance, and your cultivation of all those tools that support you to choose again, that means you want only love. So I'll say it again. Where did your fears go? It got erased. How did it get erased? By your desire, your attention, and your allowance. How did that anger get erased? By my desire, my attention, and my allowance, and my willingness to cultivate all the tools that support me to choose for love again. Yeah. All right? Now, grace purifies the mind. And what is grace? Grace is a direct gift of your Creator. Grace is the energy and the power of love. The power of love that descends into your mind, and the power of love that descends into your heart, that prepares a place for it. Grace is the energy and the power of love that descends into your mind and descends into your heart when you prepare a place for it. Now, you should say that your greatest preparation, the greatest preparation you can do, is to admit that you do not know what anything is for. So the way you prepare yourself for grace is to open your mind. The way you open your mind is to recognize you don't know everything. It's a mind that realizes, open mind is a mind that realizes it doesn't know everything and is willing to be shown. So the greatest preparation is to admit that you don't know what anything is for. So I'm going to stop and say, I don't know what anything is for. I don't know what you are for. I ultimately do not know what anything is for. So if you are feeling emotions, if you're feeling feelings, if you're feeling like you want to run, if there's some area of your life right now that you're feeling like you want to run, if you feel like you want to avoid taking responsibility for something that's dropped in your lap, if you feel like you want to stop taking responsibility or avoid taking responsibility for something that has dropped in your lap, rest assured that you're on your edge. You're right on your edge. When you are at a point that you want to avoid taking responsibility, if you want to run, if you've had enough, you're on your edge. There is the place. That's the place you need to turn back. That's the place where you need to embrace. So wherever you are right now, that you feel the most frustration, that you feel like you want to run, that you feel like there's some responsibility that's showing up in your life right now that you really don't want to have, you are on your edge. And there is the place you need to embrace, right there. Okay, any thoughts about any of this that I've covered so far? Any comments, any questions from anybody online about what we talked about what I've covered so far? Yeah.
I'm like you. I have a vague concept of love, but to define it comprehensively, I'm at a loss. But I've become very much more adept at defining fear, because I know what that is, and I felt it in all the various ways that humans do. And I'm wondering, is it a good strategy to desire the absence of fear, which, as we know, is the opposite.
Yeah, to desire the absence of fear.
And that we can achieve love in that way.
Well, it says that the way, one of the things that, of course, in Miracles teaches that love can't be taught, and this is teaching that love can't be taught, but you can be taught what love isn't. And through recognizing what love isn't is how you recognize it. So when you say, I'm willing to recognize the absence of fear, then that's the way love can be revealed to you. To try to master fear just gives fear more power. So the only true mastery of fear is through love. And love is not fear. It is not guilt. It is not anger. It is not attack. It is not lack. So, yeah, I can learn what love is by recognizing what love is not. There's no such thing as a person attacking me and then telling me they love me. As soon as someone attacks me, they're not expressing love to me. They're expressing fear. So I'm not going to say, you love me and you're attacking me. So we learn what love is by learning it's not, what's not love. Yeah. So that.
So, first of all, I have to admit, I'm on my edge.
Okay. You're on your edge.
I'm on my edge.
Okay.
See,
You're on your ledge. You're on your
Not yet.
edge.
I haven't
Okay,
quite
okay.
got
You
to
might
the
get
edge
to the
yet.
edge, but hopefully you won't, but you're on your edge. Okay.
See, it says, what's the difference to being on edge and fearful and thinking I'm hearing something like divinely that I shouldn't do, like venturing into a new relationship? Can you tell the difference?
Yeah, if you have fear, then there's something you're perceiving incorrectly about entering into that relationship. There's something else that you need to be asking your inner guide about it, because you're not seeing it correctly. If you were seeing it with peace, you would be seeing the situation more clearly, because fear distorts your perception, peace clarifies your perception. So if I were you, I would not move forward until I had gotten some level and some form of peace about that. So the temptation is going to be to make everything complicated. And the Course of Miracles and the Way of Mastery say that over and over again. If I'm saying that I'm getting the chance to enter a relationship and I'm scared to death, then really I don't really want something that I'm afraid of. Nobody really wants something they're afraid of. So if I have a lot of fear, that's not me wanting the relationship, that's me being afraid to get in the relationship. Now I can go ahead and overrule that, but if I overrule it before I've actually given myself peace, then there's a possibility that I'll regret that decision. Because I didn't enter it from a place of clarity, which was a place of peace. So it's not so much making your decisions based on what's right and what's wrong. It's more effective to base your decisions on what gives you the most peace and what doesn't. Because we already know as consciously evolving beings, if we're the least bit consciously evolving beings, we already know that we should not consciously want to be harmful. So nobody can say, I honestly feel peace about murdering someone or attacking someone. In your heart of hearts, you never feel peace about attack, even if you're pretending like you are getting some kind of temporary satisfaction from it. So go in the direction of peace. Anybody else got any thoughts?
I just had a weird experience when you started the music and you were talking about what you think about. I was sitting here quietly and I thought I didn't lock my car, and I started to get into a fear space.
Mm-hmm.
So I was trying to erase that, and I was going, I don't want to miss any of this class, and I need to erase that. And then when we came out of the music, your internet thing went down, and I realized, I have time to run out and lock my car and come back. It was just kind of weird to me, and by the time I got back, everything was back online.
Okay,
weird to me
okay, so now we know why everything blacked out.
that,
So you can go out to your car.
You did.
No, I just thought it was just.
No, you did it, man. You did it. All right. Yeah. Cool.
I just thought it was just really kind of funny that
I love it. I love how everything proves what I'm studying. I just think it's interesting that there are just. I work with computers and with technology in one way or another most of the day. It's just so interesting that the one time that it has a tendency to malfunction is whenever I'm doing one of my classes. It can work fine all day, all night. As soon as I go, I'm going to talk about the truth and then go of fear and being in the spirit and then go of separation, and then something tries to interrupt that, which the teachings themselves say that we're going to create blocks to that awareness out of our fear. So to me, it just validates everything that I'm studying, which gives me more faith in it, because it's so predictable.
Even our viewers are laughing because we've had a couple whose phones have died. It's like, oh.
I have a question. So I know that I'm on the edge when I'm trying to run from something and when I'm not wanting to take responsibility for creating it. And so I am feeling like I'm not wanting to take responsibility for the political situation that I'm witnessing, and I'm feeling a lot of discomfort and fear around that. And so I'm
Well, yeah, go ahead.
okay, so I'm on my edge with it. And then the last line says, there is a place that you need to turn back and embrace.
Yeah, turning back is my willingness to embrace.
So,
They're not really separate. I'm going to turn back means I'm going to take a look at what's going on. I'm going to embrace it. By embracing it means that this is my experience. You know, this is my experience. The experience that I'm having right now is my experience. What I'm responsible for is the way that I am experiencing this experience. What you're responsible for is any fear that you're feeling around the current political situation. You know, that is coming from you, your reaction to it. But always remember this, that the thing that's terrifying you is absolute ecstasy to somebody else. That's why you know it's not the thing. You know, there are some people that feel a lot safer because of the transition that's going on right now. There are a lot of people that are glad that we have the upcoming administration and president that's coming in right now. Everybody's not responding with fear. Some people are feeling very good about that. And then some people are feeling very afraid. So each person is responsible for what they're feeling about what's happening right now. And that's what these books and these truth books are trying to get us to see. There is no situation, I don't care how intense it is, that I'm not the one that's giving it the meaning that it has for me. It doesn't make any difference if I don't care what it is. I don't care how intense it is, I'm still the one that's giving me my fear about it. And then the Course in Miracles says that one of the reasons why there's so much fear is simply because we're trusting in our own strength separate from the divine. That we're trusting in our own strength separate from God. What we are experiencing is an incredible level of being made aware of how little faith that we have in our Creator and in the universe and in the love of the universe. That is the truth. And then it says that what you do is you admit you don't like the way you feel now, and then you ask for another way to look at it, and you ask Spirit, what do you want me to do? Where do you want me to go? What do you want me to say? Who do you want me to say it to? And then you might be instructed to be an activist. Somebody else might be instructed to just meditate. So you will be individually instructed in terms of what role we have to play to allow Spirit to come through. But what the mistake that we make is thinking that we've got to solve it without higher power.
Yeah.
That's the only mistake that we make, is that we still think we're kind of on our own, and that there isn't divine intelligence that we can tap into.
And so that's exactly what I was thinking as you guys were talking. I think often we don't trust in our own ability to love in the face of the unknown.
Yes.
We
Well,
don't
yes.
know what's going to happen.
And that to me, that's what made Martin Luther King such an incredible teacher, was because I don't care what was going on. And I grew up during that tumultuous period. And it's nothing like people are used to. You don't know what it feels like to be in the United States and watch a tank come through your neighborhood, like I did when I was a teenager, during all the civil unrest of the 60s. We think we're dealing with stuff. We've been dealing with Nintendos, flat screens, and can we go skiing? In America, we haven't really dealt with a lot of physical unrest, where you see people burning down buildings, going through stuff. So it's kind of funny. So my point in saying that was, in the midst of all of that, Martin Luther King only preached love. And he never really focused it on just black people. Everything that you read, he's always talking about everybody, all of us loving each other, being peaceful no matter what. He showed the power of peace. You know, so some people reacted one way, he reacted, and by the way, that's how Gandhi was able to accomplish the things that he accomplished, which was a model of king. It was the same thing. Peace is stronger than war. I saw on Facebook tonight, I saw where somebody had posted a picture of a demonstration that was going on in some country, and it was thousands of people, but they just stood still in silence and did not say anything, and it freaked everybody out. That to see thousands of people standing there and nobody just said anything, they're just standing there like that. That got their attention much more than anything else that anyone could have done. We're so used to attack and defense that it's hard for us to even consider that peace and love would win out over all the stuff that's going on right now. But there are a lot of people that are realizing that. There are a lot of people coming together now from the perspective of love, more than I've seen in a long time. So this, I do not understand, like I say, I don't really understand what anything is for. So I don't know that this isn't part of some greater divine plan to actually get us to the point that we really do love each other the way that we should. But what I am going to do from moment to moment is ask for guidance. And more than that, I'm going to be what I'm expecting everybody else to be. I think there's too much of everybody waiting for somebody else to be the loving one. They're waiting for somebody else to be the peaceful one, instead of being that way themselves. So I've made the decision for me and my house that I'm going to be the love that I'm wanting everybody to share. That I'm not going to be part of the problem, I'm going to be part of the solution. I'm not going to wait for anybody else to reach out and love. I'm going to do it myself. I'm going to accept this truth for myself. That's my solution. Because the only person I have any kind of control over at this level of consciousness is me. But I know my ego wants me to say, if you were different, I'd be happy. If every one of you changed, then I'd be happy. If he changed, I'd be happy. I'm not going that route anymore. It doesn't work. I can't make my happiness dependent on what somebody else does anymore. Mm-hmm.
So we had several people say they're having problems with the volume. Is there any way you can turn volume up anywhere?
I don't know what I can do to turn the volume up. I don't have a volume control.
I didn't know if the mic you had in front of you could be louder.
It's pretty loud. I
I
can't imagine it getting any louder without it being kind of disturbing to us. Let me see. And it's as loud as it can go on this end. I don't know, baby.
Okay.
I don't know what's happening.
I'm
gonna have to surrender. I'm gonna have to surrender. I'm in the mic, and so
There you go.
that's all I can do.
That works.
Okay. That's all right. Okay. Okay. You ready to go further?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. It says, once the journey has begun, the end is perfectly certain. Once the journey has begun, the end is perfectly certain. Peace is the perfect goal. And let's define peace. Peace is total fulfillment. Peace isn't sitting in a cave contemplating your neighbor necessarily. Peace is total fulfillment. But there are few still who truly understand what peace is. Peace isn't the avoidance of pain. Peace is not the avoidance of pain. Peace is not the avoidance of responsibility. Actually, peace is the doorway to the greatest of responsibilities, in which your mind, your heart, your body, and even your soul, while it lasts, has been so purified of dissonance. Now, what the heck does that mean? That your soul has been purified of dissonance. It means that your soul has become so aligned with the will of God. It means your soul has become so aligned with the will of love that one looks upon all things with the compassion of Christ, with the compassion of love. So if you are purified, then your will is in alignment with the will of love, and you're looking at everything with compassion. So I'm in alignment with the will of love, and I want to look at everything with compassion. That's when you have become purified of dissonance. It's a work in progress. Readiness is not mastery. Readiness is not mastery. Saying I'm ready to be more loving doesn't mean I've mastered it. Saying I'm ready to be more peaceful doesn't mean I've mastered it. That's another error that truth students make. They think because they hear something, they ought to be able to immediately do it just because they heard about it. Right? So if I say we should be unconditionally loving, then people beat themselves up because they know they're angry at somebody about something. It said that the goal is to be unconditionally loving, but it didn't say that you had already done that, or we wouldn't be taking this course. If we had already accomplished that, there would be no need for us to study. So give yourself a break. Be a happy learner. So he says, such a one walks in this world of yours unknown by those around him or her. So a truly enlightened person is probably unknown to you. And that person serves only the voice of the Holy Spirit. So a truly enlightened person, you probably don't even know when you're around them, and they're only listening to the voice for love. It is not the least bit concerned with others' reactivity. So that means that someone who's serving only the voice for God could care less about how other people react to them. So one of the ways you can tell if a person is enlightened or not is how much they're concerned about what other people think. If you're around somebody who's always concerned about what other people think, you can rest assured this is not an awakened being. An awakened being is going to do what love tells them to do, and they don't care what anybody else says. Which means if everybody else in this room decided to murder somebody, I would go, I'm not going to do it. All the rest of you can do it. I don't care. I'm not going to do it. I don't care. I'm only going to follow the guidance of love. Period. No matter how anybody else reacts. I could be talking to a black person that hated white people, and they could be telling me to hate white people. I'm not.
Right. I
don't care what they say. I'm not. So, because I am white people. I am black people. I'm all of it, and you're all of it. We're all connected. There's just one of us here. That's it. You know. So, if a person's listening to the voice for love, they're not going to be a bit concerned about other people's reaction to them being a loving person. Wow. For the only goal of the awakened Christ, which is the awakened true self, and peace and Christ consciousness are the same thing. So when we say Christ consciousness, we're saying peace consciousness. And they're the same thing. If I have Christ consciousness, I have peace consciousness. And it's to be an agent through which the power of grace works to transform this illusion. So I'm here to be an agent through which grace works in this illusion. Again, if love's going to come into this world, it's got to come through me. If love's going to come into this world, it's got to come through you. So I'm going to keep saying that. Because if we don't say it any other way, do you know that we are avoiding responsibility? That is the avoidance of responsibility. Me saying that I'm not going to be a loving presence in this world. And you don't have to worry about what's going to happen to you if you're a loving presence in this world. Because usually if you're a loving presence in this world and you're pretty much unknown while you're doing it, nobody's going to mess with you anyway. People who are full of, generally who have a vibration of attack and anger are not attracted to people who channel love. They just aren't. People who love drama are not attracted to peaceful people. Yeah. People who feel unloved and feel like they don't deserve love are not attracted to kind people. So it's really rare if you're really loving that you're going to come in contact with somebody that really wants to attack you anyway. People who love violence and attack don't even see you. Your vibration becomes so different that they don't even notice you 99% of the time. Try it. Try being truly peaceful and watch what happens. Not the illusion of peaceful, but truly peaceful. That's two different things. Saying that I'm a truly peaceful person, but I'm always upset and worried about everything and scared is not me being a truly peaceful person. That's you thinking you're a nice person. And people think being nice is enough. And they think being nice and kind is enough. But you've had enough examples to know that that is not enough. All of us can point out people who seem like they're really nice, and you can point out times when you thought you were really nice, and it looked like something happened to you that wasn't too nice. So being nice isn't enough. Having a consciousness that is cleared out of anger and guilt and grievances is what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about being nice. I'm talking about a transformed consciousness that's full of only love. That's what it was saying. A truly loving being is not going to attract attack. Even Jesus said in the Bible over and over again, people say, well, Jesus was crucified. Well, if anybody reads the Bible, and I'm not a Bible scholar, but I've read it a couple of times, Jesus said that he was born to go through what he went through. Did he not? He came here saying, I'm going to be betrayed. I'm going to be crucified. So you can't cite Jesus as an example when that was the role he said he was going to play when he came in to show that truth couldn't be destroyed, that who we really are lives on. That was his whole point. That what we really are, that's what the whole point of the resurrection was, to show that truth can never be destroyed. What's really love can't be destroyed. Who we really are cannot be destroyed. A body can be destroyed. Who you really are can't be destroyed. So Jesus did what he was born to do. Just like you are going to do what you were born to do. And each one of you have a special function too. But you don't have to be crucified, even though you crucify yourself daily, if you keep yourself unhappy all the time. That is a form of crucifixion.
That's right.
People who keep themselves habitually unhappy are crucifying themselves. So it says, that mind is the mind that serves the atonement. I know people like to use the term at-one-ment, that's great, but it really is atonement. That's the actual, and atonement is just the undoing of your fear. If you will let your fear go, if you will learn how to let all guilt and fear go, that is the atonement. You're not crucifying yourself anymore with fear and anger and guilt. So, then it says, that mind, what? May not be understood by others. So when you start to really practice true love, other people may not understand you. They may go, I don't understand you. I don't know what's going on with you. So ask yourself, how can the insane understand the sane? How can the insane understand the sane? You know, if I'm only talking peace and I'm not talking about attacking you and I'm talking about both of us sharing in love and peace, and you look at me as your enemy and you judge me and you criticize me, you're insane. Because only an insane person wouldn't join with someone else that wants peace for both of them.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that for a minute. You know, so now, any thoughts, comments, ahas about anything that's been shared? Don't let it be said that I didn't give everybody a chance to contribute. That it's just me sitting up here talking and everybody just got to listen. Because I promise you that it's okay.
So a definite comment here from Deborah. She really resonated with a truly enlightened person serves only the voice of love. And she's currently going through the experience with her daughter where she's trying to help her daughter understand that, but her daughter is, actually enjoying hurting people, if I'm understanding this correct. And so she's saying, how do I stay in love with my daughter when we're different here?
Well, it's not about, nobody's asking you to love your daughter's actions. Nobody's asking you to love what your daughter is doing that may be potentially hurtful to herself or anyone else. But loving your daughter would be you demonstrating to your daughter how she should be expressing herself. A true teacher is a demonstrator. Mm-hmm. And also understand, and this may be deep, but you didn't create your daughter.
That's right.
You did not create your daughter. Your daughter was created by God just like you were. And the same voice that's guiding you is also inside your daughter, guiding your daughter. So what you want to do is you want to every day, every time you think of your daughter, give your daughter to God. Give your daughter to the Holy Spirit and ask yourself, what do you want me to do? Where do you want me to go, Spirit? What do you want me to say to my daughter? Ask that and then talk to your daughter. Mm-hmm. I can't tell you specifically what to say to your daughter. But what I can tell you is to get in the habit of asking your inner guide what to say to your daughter and study this curriculum or another similar spiritual curriculum, because all of these curriculums give you very definite things to do to share love and to be a means for the healing and correction of everyone else. That's why I suggest often to people, stop going to your own mind for the answer and start using some wisdom greater than yours. And in most truth books, the wisdom is greater than yours. And being willing to go within and that spirit will give you a wisdom that's greater than yours. So you are to remember that your daughter is ultimately loved, that she is spirit, that she is innocent, that she's acting out of her guilt and her fear. And one way or another, she will come to the realization of the error of her ways and learn another way to look at it. Now, she can do it in a way that's painful for her, or she can do it in a way that's not that painful for her. But that's going to be her choice. And your job is to constantly ask for guidance and demonstrate as much consciousness and love as you possibly can with her. That's what comes to me to say. Because parents take too much responsibility and not enough. It's like a combination of both of them. You can see children who were raised in homes that seem like they were like the perfect home, and they'd be sociopaths. And you can see children who were born in homes that appear to be broken with every kind of disadvantage that you could imagine and be some of the most loving people you can ever meet. So your children inherit the most from themselves. They come here with their own path, their own purpose, and their own lessons. This is not our first time at the rodeo, folks. And you don't have to believe that, and it's okay if you don't.
Not our children's either.
And it's right. God did not, we were not created to just be born, go to school, try to get a job, try to get retirement and die. I mean, let's face it, that would have to be an insane creator to come up with that's why all of us are here. So I think there's a deeper meaning. And that's what the Way of Master is telling us, that we are spiritual beings having a human experience, and we are here to remember who we really are, and that we are only loved, and we have invisible guidance to help us.
So Demola asks, can we cultivate grace?
Can we cultivate grace? We can cultivate our willingness to allow it. That's why I kept saying desire, intention, allowance, and surrender. So grace is, you can cultivate the awareness that you are loved regardless of what you do. That's as close as I believe from what this is saying that you can get to earning it. Because the whole nature of grace is that it's not something you can earn. That's what makes it grace.
It's our lack of awareness that it's there.
Yeah, it's our lack of awareness that the grace is there that's the problem. We're so used to paying and earning that it almost blows our mind to actually believe that we could be just given love. We could just be given support. We could just be given what we need. I don't remember when I was a baby earning the right to suck that bottle.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That was mine out of grace. That was a gift to me. And so one of the things that you begin to let go of as you grow in consciousness is the whole idea of paying and earning.
Oh, thank God.
You know, paying and earning is a totally fear-based thought.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't, we came up with the systems that we have to buy and pay for stuff. Everything was given to us freely. Everything on this earth was given to us freely. We were the ones that came up with the bargains and the money and the buying, and that wasn't whatever created us didn't say any of that. We made that up. And when you really love yourself, you find that the universe provides you with everything you need all the time. When you love yourself, you'll see what's already there. Anybody else? Brother Arlen.
It's on the point of grace that I hate being on my edge. It's uncomfortable. I've got all kind of tactics to deny it, procrastinate it, take a nap. The course says, forget, go to sleep, die. One time when I first touched on this material back in 2004, I would, in an hour sense, I was probably in my least spiritual mode, my most debaucherous mode, and.
So please talk louder so everybody.
There was a really intense experience that came at me. It was totally at my edge, and it was one I would normally either run from or attack back or defend. But I just stood still and let it happen. Just faced it. And in that moment, grace came through, and it said to me, there's not a single moment of your life that's unworthy of unconditional love. And I mean, in a second, I just felt whole and complete. And in that second, it extended to everybody and everything outside me. I walked in that for like 18 hours. Of being at peace and in love, and everything the Course talks about, I got to experience it for like a day without knowing anything really. I'd hardly started the Course. And then ever since then, it was like getting helicoptered up, and now I got like an instruction manual of how to find my way back. I don't know, but I definitely didn't earn that spot. It was a total gift, and it was a total edge, and it was a total, I didn't run from it.
That's an example. It's sort of like if you were to picture a cloud a day, and then there was a break in the clouds. That's what happened. The love came through in that opening, and then then we had the cloud of our fear come back.
Right. And one more thing I'd say about that is I was at a workshop recently, and they asked these questions. One of them was, what memory do you never want to lose, and what's one you'd like to lose? And the memory I didn't want to lose was this day of grace. And they asked me more about it, and as I was talking a little bit about it, the people in there were like, I don't understand what you're saying at all. I just thought it was a trip. Talk about being invisible. It's hard to share it about revelation.
Well, revelation is intensely personal, and you can't share a revelation. All you can do is share with people the different behavior that the revelation triggers in you. But you can't really. Have you ever been really excited about something and had a really big breakthrough, and you share it with somebody and it falls completely flat. They
Totally.
don't get it at all. That's where it is with revelation. You know, that's why I tell people, sometimes when you make your biggest breakthroughs in consciousness, don't share it with anybody. Let yourself be in that for a while, you know, rather than go try to talk to somebody about it, because if they're not in the same headspace, they're usually not going to be able to give you the kind of support or excitement about that you want. And the ego part of us, the part of us that wants to block that, generally then goes to people who would at least be open to the revelation, to share the revelation. That's why when we come together in groups like this, I encourage us to communicate, simply because you're actually in an environment where it's okay for you to be as weird as you want to be. Where you can say the most outrageous things, where you can say things that other people would not be willing to even entertain saying. But the tendency is to be quiet when you're around the people who have a similar mind, and then walk out of the room and try to explain this to people who are going to think you're nuts. So we end up talking to the people who absolutely wouldn't get it, be in a room full of people who would get it, and not communicate. That's our ego that does that. That's our ego that does that. And it's okay. It's all good. Is there any other question on this, CJ? Okay. Anybody else in here want to share anything? Yeah, brother.
Just that sometimes I fall into the mistake of using the language of the way of mastery in an environment that doesn't have any concept of what I'm talking about, and that can cause some pretty blank stares sometimes.
Say it again.
Cause some blank stares.
I'm just trying to bring it closer, so maybe that'll help with the volume thing.
Oh, yeah.
Like I said, it's no different than how I've done every class, so I don't have any idea what's different with the volume, because it's the exact same setup I've used on everything. So, it's all good. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. I'll keep on going now, man. All right. Surrender is like the petals of the flower. Petals emerge in their own time. One cannot necessarily see the causal connection of all that has gone before with the sweet nectar of perfect remembrance. The flowering of the soul that is no longer fearful and abides in the world awake, in peace open, through which the flow of grace descends to touch the world. In other words, surrender flowers from the only three things you can do. Surrender comes from your desire, from your intention, and the fact that you allow it. First I got to desire what? I got to desire to be what I was created to be, even if I don't know what that is. I got to desire to be what I was created to be, even if I don't know what I was ultimately created to be. The recognition of what you were created to be comes from your desire to be it, even if you don't know what it is. So the next section is called allowing purification to occur. Allowing it to occur. So we have to allow purification to occur. That means be willing to visit every dark, fearful corner of your mind. Be willing to get out of denial about your fear, your anger, or insecurity, or whatever it is, but only to recognize that it needs to be healed, not to wallow in it endlessly. See, that's the difference. You know, people go, okay, I'm going to admit that I have this fear, and I admit I have this anger, and I admit I have this upset, but then I'm just going to wallow in it. So you're going to see me like that today. You're going to see me like that tomorrow. You're going to see me like that the next time you see me. You're going to see me like that the next time. See, that's not what it's talking about. It's not saying, you know, be willing to visit every dark corner of your mind and then buy a house there. It's saying, in truth, it's not necessary to seek for love. It's not necessary to seek for love because love already embraces you. There's no need to seek it. It's necessary to seek for what is false. That's what I was saying earlier. that the truth teaches that it's not necessary to seek for what is true. It's necessary to seek for what is false. That in a sense, we shouldn't be truth seekers. We should be false seekers. We should be trying to become aware of what's not real, what is false, what is not what would be for our own best interest. You know, that's why I used the example earlier. If a person attacks me, I'm not going to say they love me. I'm not going to say that. I used to back when I was totally asleep. The people who were the most vicious in some ways toward me were the ones I thought loved me the most. And so I stayed in relationships that were fraught with arguments and attack and criticism and judgment and dissatisfaction. Stayed in them. Even regretted for months afterwards when they would end. Because I associated love with pain. And I associated love with attack. And so now I don't anymore. So if that's happening, I don't tell myself that's a person that loves me. I tell myself that's a person that fears me in that moment. There's separation between us. And I'm not going to try to be with someone that's constantly judging me, condemning me, and criticizing me. Where I used to stick in there no matter what, if that's what they were doing. I know none of you are aware of that by the look on your faces. And no one's ever been in a relationship that was less than totally loving and then stuck around. But I have. I have done that. But it's a lot easier not to do it now because I love myself more. I'd rather be by myself, quote unquote, than be with someone that we constantly at each other's throat for one reason or another, personally. So love already embraces you, but he says it is necessary to seek for what is false. So here are some questions. Where am I? Ask yourself this question. Ask yourself this question. Where am I fooling myself? Where am I committed to my image in the world? Where am I just committed to my image? How people see me in this world. Where am I committed to thinking for myself? Because underneath I do not truly trust that God loves me, so I try to do all my thinking for myself. Because I don't really trust that my Creator really loves me. Where am I lying to myself and others? Where am I lying to myself and to others? Where in my life am I deceiving myself? In last Sunday's Course in Miracles class, I did a section that was called, I choose the joy of God instead of pain. And the first line in that section said, pain is proof of self-deception. And that's exactly what this is saying. How can I tell when I'm lying to myself about something? I'm in pain. And people say, well, suppose you're in pain because you got some kind of illness. Well, you're still in some form of deception. Doesn't mean you're bad. It just means you're still not aware of your unlimited power as a spiritual being. That's all. That you're not really aware of who you ultimately are. That's not a sin. That's not a crime. That's not a put down. I love the idea that I'm deceiving myself when I see myself as weak. I love the idea that I'm deceiving myself if I see myself as lacking in any way, that I'm actually fooling myself. That's a good thought. That's not a bad thought. So where am I lying to myself? Where am I lying to others? Where am I in denial? Where do I need to understand what projection is? How many of you know what projection is? Okay, what is projection?
Take that experience which I'm actually having within myself. I don't want to acknowledge it within myself, so I see it in another person rather than face it in myself.
Exactly.
Beautifully said.
Exactly.
I
And
always find it's always a critical issue too. I mean, I never go, oh, I'm projecting. It's always like when I'm seeing other people, it's always of a critical nature that I'm perceiving it as.
in the Course in Miracles and the Way of Mastery teaches that everything that we see is a projection. That I'm taking all my values, all my beliefs, and all my thoughts, and then I'm projecting it on everybody else around me. So I see you as the problem, or you as being selfish, or you as being angry, or you as the one that's causing my pain. Or I can do a positive projection, and I can say that I see love in you, I see beauty in you, I see peace in you, I see awesomeness in you. That's still my projection.
That's right.
So projection isn't necessarily negative, but what are you projecting? It's whatever you're seeing.
And that's when the Course says that there are no private thoughts,
No,
right?
No.
Because whatever it is that someone is experiencing in their reality is what it is that's going on inside of them.
right. So when I'm listening to somebody talk about somebody else, I know how their mind works.
Right, and how
They
they're feeling
just
about
told
themselves.
they just told me that they see anger all around them. I go, okay, this is a very angry person.
Mm-hmm.
They see everybody's being selfish. They usually see everybody's being selfish but them, because that's the nature of projection. You know, so if you really listen to people, you'll know exactly what kind of person you're dealing with completely by listening to how they describe everyone else.
One of my favorite questions to ask people is, do you think that this world is generally a loving place or a safe place or not? And then I get to see what they think about that.
That's right. And you get a chance to see what they think about themselves.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I have a friend that, and I've known her over 20 years, and she's always seeing beautiful things in everybody. She's always seeing the good in everybody. But then she'll think that, well, if you compliment her, she'll go, oh, no, I'm not, no, I don't see that in myself at all. And I say, no, you love yourself at a ridiculous level. And she said, what? I said, I don't ever hear you do anything but point out loving things about everybody and everything around you. You couldn't be seeing that if you didn't have a lot of intrinsic love for yourself in yourself. That impresses me more than the person that thinks they're awesome and putting everybody else down.
That's right.
So why doesn't she see it?
Because we are taught to believe that humility is debasement. We're taught to believe that if you're going to be a humble person, you don't speak highly of yourself. You tell yourself, oh, no, I'm not really that kind. Oh, me. I'm not really that nice. You know that people do that. How many times have you tried to compliment somebody and you could barely get it out of your mouth before they start tearing the compliment down? Because they think that makes them more humble to go, oh, no, that's not really me at all. You know, so that's just a programming. That's all. It's just another way. It's just another one of those erroneous, stupid beliefs that fearful minds teach each other. That to put yourself down. People kind of like don't even like you to speak highly of yourself. You speak highly of yourself, and people who don't think highly of themselves say that you're being egotistical. Like I've complimented people in a very sincere way, and I can't tell you how many times I've had people say back to me, oh, you're just trying to build up my ego. And I say, no, it's just the opposite. If I was condemning you and criticizing you and judging you, that would be building up your ego. If I see you as loving, that is undoing your ego and helping you remember who you really are. So I'm going to build up who you really are. You may see it as building up your ego, but I'm building up your ego if I'm judging you, condemning you, and talking about you. That's building your ego, not telling you loving things. Next question, he says, ask yourself, where do I need to understand more deeply how the viciousness of the ego works within my own mind? Where do you need to understand more deeply how the viciousness of your fear, which is the ego, works within your own mind? Where do I need to understand where my ego is operating the most in my own mind? Where do I need to understand more deeply how the viciousness of my anger or fear or separation is working within my own mind? Where am I most critical, hard, condemning, afraid, and feel separate within my own mind? Where is that the strongest? Next question. Where am I pointing a finger outside of myself? Where in my life am I most saying, and I know generally right now where it's happening, is happening the most in what's happening with the presidential transition. That's where I see the most projection and pointing the finger going on right now in my experience. Even the temptation within me to do that. Everybody's pointing. Everybody's point is if somehow or another this person got in this position that we didn't all at some level create.
Mhm.
I bet you some of the people who are complaining the most didn't even vote.
Mhm.
I bet you anything. I bet some of the people who are most upset were totally uninvolved with the process.
That's right.
And they're the main ones complaining.
The numbers indicate that.
Yeah, it was the lowest turnout. It was the lowest turnout. It was the lowest turnout in the last 5 presidential elections. It was like an all-time low voter turnout. You know. So again, some people are loving it, some people are fearing it. Some people are loving it, some people are fearing it. The way I look at it is, I'm always looking for, am I hearing a voice that's speaking for unity? Or am I hearing a voice that's speaking for separation and division? To me, that has nothing to do with being a Democrat or Republican. My challenge with my brother Trump is I don't hear unity talk. That's it. That's as far as I go. I just don't hear my brothers talking inclusive, love, unity, communication. And so for me, if I'm not hearing that, then that's not acceptable to me. And I need to ask myself, where am I in division? Where am I in separation also? Because if it's bugging me, it's reminding me of when I've been that way myself. But that in no way excuses it. But it's also important for me to look at myself and say, where am I not speaking for unity and oneness? Where am I being divisive within myself? You know, I can't accept anymore putting other people down to raise myself up. And that's what the world does. It loves to talk about everybody else so that I can feel better about myself.
So I also remember in other times we've talked about words and how the word itself can be an illusion.
Yeah.
And so then I wonder, is what we're hearing on the political front, is that just is our fear of it just a projection of the way we're interpreting the words?
Any feeling that we have is definitely coming from our interpretation. There's no time that is not. But sometimes it's the best you can do. Is like if you are talking unity, like if you're telling me that you want to love me as opposed to hate me, first I'd rather hear a person saying that to me, whether they're sincere or not. The next level is, let me see if your actions back up your words. Because actions, that old saying to me is the truest one out there. Action speaks louder than words. So I love that you're saying you love me, but I also want to see how that is reflected in your actions and how that's reflected in my actions. Even though you're going to interpret it any way you want to. Bottom line is, I don't care what you think about me as long as you don't put your hands on me. And don't try to block my life and me being able to live it in the way I choose in a peaceful way. So then I don't have to worry about what you're saying. What you're saying doesn't really matter. Your actions are okay with me. And that's why, in a way, I give total strangers more freedom to express themselves the way that they really want to, that brings them peace, than I do the people who are special to me. The people who are special to me, I am much more likely to try to control their behavior. And I want them to act the way I want them to act to meet my needs. So therefore, I'm very much asking you, what did you do last night? Where did you go? Who did you do it with? Because you are special to me, so that makes me think that I should have some control over you that I would never try to have over a stranger. So who am I really loving the most? The stranger that I'm letting live their life the way that they choose to, or the person I say that I love, that I have all kinds of demands, expectations of them, whether or not they want to do it or not. So the more you become conscious, the more you recognize that everything here is just the reverse of everything that's true. That what we call love is fear, and what we call fear sometimes is love. you know. It's very frightening to some people to be in a relationship with someone who chooses to live their life the way they choose to.
Mm-hmm.
They want to control the other person, not because they care about the other person. It's actually usually because they care more about themselves than they do that other person's happiness. It's really about getting my needs met, not what you want. Or I wouldn't be trying to stop you from doing what you truly felt in your heart was what you needed to do in your life. Anyway, yeah.
Okay, so if I can formulate this. So let's say you're in a relationship with someone, and with what you just said, how is it that you take what you said and get your needs met and their needs met when your needs aren't the same?
If you have, with the thing to remember is that neither one of you all are responsible for meeting the other's need. See, the first error is believing that you're in this relationship to meet each other's needs. So really you join in a relationship for you all to love together, but not to try to fulfill each other or to try to validate each other. You're there to join in love and peace together.
But like on a simple level, which then grows into a bigger level, so I'm talking like a simple level, like they, I mean, I'll give you an example. The person I'm dating is sleeping on the floor on a single mattress, right? And I don't really want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm okay with him doing that, but I don't want to do that. So then how do you, I mean, I'm trying to translate what you're saying into.
Well, if it was, I like to say, if it was me and I didn't want to sleep on the mattress on the floor, and they wanted to, I would let them sleep on the mattress on the floor, and then I would sleep wherever it is I wanted to sleep.
But then you create separation. If you're
No,
not-
you create more peace. You'd be in much more conflict if you were doing what you really didn't want to do, which is sleep on the floor on the mattress.
I get that.
Yeah, well, that's the simple. But that's what makes it so the answer so elusive is because the answer I'm giving you is so simple, which is if you choose not to sleep on the mattress and this person wants to sleep on the mattress, then you let them sleep on the mattress and then you sleep where you want to sleep, because if you really love each other, it doesn't have anything to do with you sleeping on the mattress that you don't really want to sleep on.
Okay, but so then I get that, but they don't. Then
Well, that's their responsibility.
Okay.
That's their responsibility at that point, especially if, think of it just this way, okay, they want it the way they want it,
right.
right? So you choosing to do it the way you want it means that you should feel totally innocent about that, because it's no different between them wanting it the way they want it. So why should you sacrifice when they're just trying to do it the way they want it? So what's wrong with you doing it the way you want it?
Yeah.
I mean, they want you to sleep on the mattress. That's them wanting you to do what they want you to do, right? You would prefer them not sleeping on the mattress because that would be them doing what you wanted them to do, right? So
Right.
both of you all just do what you want to do, which they sleep on the mattress and you sleep somewhere else. And then there's another line in the Course of Miracles that says, recognize what doesn't matter. But if it could honestly not matter to you whether you slept on the mattress or not, then go ahead and sleep on the mattress on the floor. But obviously that's not true. It doesn't give you peace to sleep on the mattress on the floor. So what would you do? You would honor yourself by doing what? Remember what I said earlier? Doing what gives you the most peace. And what would give you the most peace is what you should ask yourself. Would it give you the most peace to do that? To sleep on the mattress, or would it give you the most peace to not? And only you can answer that. And then you go with what gives you the most peace. Because see, your reality is going to reflect the attitude you have towards yourself. So if you honor yourself, you live in a reality that honors you. If you are sacrificing for the other person, you'll be attracting more people in your life that demand more and more sacrifice of you to get you to do what you don't want to do. Because remember, the world is a three-dimensional mirror of your attitude towards yourself. So that's what you should keep in mind. That's why relationships are such a trip to me. Because our concept of relationships is pretty much based on sacrifice. That love is sacrifice. That as a good partner, you're constantly doing what you don't want to do if you think it's going to make the other person happy. And if you don't do that, you're perceived as selfish. But all you do is build up resentment because you really don't want to do that. And then they wonder why you go off or why you explode or why you become passive aggressive and all the other crap that goes on in relationships. It's because people have the belief that sacrifice is love. So they think loving somebody means giving up what they want for somebody else, rather than going I don't mind sharing with you, but I'm also going to love myself too. I always used to tell people in relationships, let's come up with a 200% solution. Let's come up with a solution where it looks like I win and you win.
That's right.
Never will I come up with a solution with somebody that looks like they get what they want and I don't get anything that I want out of that situation, which is the regular perception of relationships that most people have. If you really love me, then you would bloop, 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 bloop. You know, and that's basically saying, if you really love me, you'll sacrifice your happiness for me. Mm-hmm. And that is not love. That is fear. Because only a person that's full of fear would make a demand that anybody that they love do something that didn't bring them peace and joy. You know, like somebody really love you would say, if you really saw somebody else you wanted to be with, they'd say, I love you so much that if you really wanted to be in this other relationship, I want you to be in that other relationship, if that would really make you happy. That's what somebody that loves you would say.
That's right.
See, somebody that loves you, they want you to do what truly gives you joy, even if it's not with them. Somebody that doesn't, they want you to sacrifice your happiness to please them. So what you just said was a very cool thing to bring up because it's really that simple. I go back. Does it give you peace? What gives you the most peace? That's why it has nothing to do with the mattress. It has to do with you learning to honor yourself and be totally authentic and loving yourself is what it's about. Mm-hmm. Because as you love yourself, your world will love you and you'll be able to see it. Mm-hmm. You know, because you deserve to be off that floor on the mattress, and that means you can't sleep in my house. Okay. And I love sleeping on the floor. I got a great mattress on the floor. So I don't know. I don't know whether it was something I did in another life or something. I love being on the floor. Mm-hmm. It's my thing. So does that make sense to everybody?
Yeah.
So you see how that answer could apply to other things. That's why I went so in depth with that. Because if when you receive an answer from the truth, you can apply it to other things.
That was a great question and answer.
Yeah, because to me, none of this spiritual, metaphysical stuff is worth anything if you can't apply it to the everyday reality that you live in. And I think that's the error that sometimes us truth teachers make, is that we'll talk at such an abstract level that people can't take what we're studying and take it into their day-to-day reality. And it's important to apply the truth to any situation, not just special ones, any. Okay? That's why I love these questions. They're bringing up some great stuff. It says, where am I denying my fear? Where am I pretending that I'm not afraid, but I'm really very afraid? Where is it that you're pretending? Who is it that you're very afraid with, but you're pretending you're not afraid? What situation are you? So like if you said, I have fear around the present transition of power in this country, it's not asking you to deny that fear. It's just trying to get us to understand the fear is not coming from outside of you. The fear is coming from inside of you. That everything you're feeling is coming from inside of you. Everything. So even if I said I felt love from you, the truth is I'm feeling the love I'm giving you. And then I say you love me. Because how many times would it look like you love somebody and they didn't love you, but you just knew you felt the love? That's because it was being generated from you. And here's another little relationship tip to think about, is that the reason why relationships tend to start off so great, if you noticed, they always tend to start off like really good. You can't get enough of each other, can you? Yeah. You want to see each other all the time. Every minute you can, if they pick their toes at the dinner table, you go, that's so cute. And then 6 months later, they put their foot up on the table, you want to chop it off. You know, so what happened? At first you were just totally turned on, right? In the beginning, you see how the relationship will be one day if you all are willing to work through your issues together. That's all it means. Because in the beginning, you're so unconditionally loving of each other. You can't do any wrong. Then all of a sudden, everything starts to come up so that everything that keeps it from being a genuine relationship can be healed and released. And if you don't know that, then you break up. Because you get disillusioned. And you don't know that the only thing that's happening is now you're getting an opportunity to get past the blocks that keep it from being a consistently loving relationship.
Isn't that what the Course says, that's when the relationship becomes a holy relationship?
Well, it
Or has
becomes,
a chance
it
to
becomes,
become a
yeah,
holy
the holy,
relationship.
yeah, it has the chance to become a holy, which he defines holy as sane. Like the Course in Miracles defines sane and holy as the same thing.
Right,
So I'm trying to get to a sane relationship with you, and a sane relationship with you is where we really honor each other for real. You know, we want each other's joy for real. We want each other's happiness for real. And it isn't just about me to the exclusion of you. It's both of us wanting, like I said, 200% solution.
That's right.
I like that.
200, if it's 3 people, then you want to have a 300% solution. If it's 5 people, you want a 500% solution. You want to have a solution that everyone feels like they're not losing.
That's right.
So on planet Earth, we want a 700 billion or a
You got 7 billion
person solution.
solution. Yeah, yeah. And again, we're not being asked to come up with that without the divine guidance. See, when we forget God is when we screw up. When we forget the infinite intelligence of this universe, that's when we mess up. Because then we're trying to figure it out from our own limited perspective about how we should handle it. And we're leaving out the divine. We're leaving out love. You know. And then if you're in a relationship, you're supposed to ask, what is the purpose? What is it for? What do I want to come of this? That's what you're supposed to do in every relationship. Even if it's a friendship, you go, you get with that person and you go, what is the purpose of us being together? What is it for? What do we want to come of this? That's what you do in any relationship. And the goal determines the outcome. So the goal determines how the relationship turns out. Without a purpose, you can't make choices and decisions. We make it more complicated than it is. I swear we do.
What is the purpose of us being together? What is
Yeah.
it for?
Yeah.
And what's the last question?
And what do we want to come of
Yeah.
this? Yeah, what do we want to come of this? You know, somebody asks you to go out, they want your phone number, you say, what for?
That's a great
And,
question.
and people almost never do that. I
Yeah.
cannot think of any time I've ever asked anybody for their phone number that they said, what for?
Wow. That
Right.
kind of threw them off.
Absolutely, because they know why they approached you.
Sure.
They know
I
exactly
don't.
what they wanted when they approached you.
Mhm.
So if it's something that's honorable, they'll say it right off the bat. But if it's something that they think would turn you off, then they wouldn't know how to respond. I can't really tell you I just want to get with you so I can get in your pants.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, what? What do you mean? Or I could go, you really look like a really nice person. I'd really like to get to know better and, see if we can, have a really cool relationship with each other. You know what I'm saying? It's like, well, why did you choose me?
Mm-hmm.
Got all these people in this room, what made you walk up to me? Now, the Course in Miracles says that because you remind me of the past, that you remind me of someone that I've already been with in some form or fashion, and my goodness, darling, you're going to make up to me everything they didn't do. I've now chosen you to restore my wounded self-esteem.
Oh, God.
That's right. And that's why they picked you out, or else everybody would have been acceptable. But why you? Think about that. Why out of everybody you chose me? Because it's something from your past, some pattern you have that I triggered. And if I'm attracted back to you, it's because you are doing the same thing for me. Sometimes with our relationships, we could just change the names and it's the same person. So next question. Okay. We almost to the end. Hey, little smarty pants.
I meant that in a good way.
I know you did. Yeah. I know you did. Where am I demanding that the world show up as I would have it? instead of surrendering to the structuring of the world in the hands of the Holy Spirit that serves entirely my healing, my growth, my maturing into true responsibility. Okay, what does that mean? Where am I trying to have it the way I want it, rather than turning it over to my higher power so that whatever this is, it can serve my healing, my growth, and my true responsibility? So, I'm going to stop right here. There's a prayer we're going to say right at the end before we go out. So let's acknowledge us for being able to hear this much. I want to acknowledge us. I mean, y'all hung in there, online, you hung in there. We're going to do a little quick review in a minute. And right now we're going to do the financial expression of appreciation. Thank you for sharing with me online as well as in the room. I'm a full-time teacher of this stuff. So you're innocent, whether you share financially or not, but I especially appreciate you for doing that. Also, go to earlpurdy.com if you'd like to do that. I really appreciate it. Those of you who would love to have a one-on-one session with me called the Clarity Session, where you take your situations and circumstances and I help you see it in another way so that you can give yourself peace and hopefully resolve that situation, go to my website and it explains that service. And if you're open to a higher consciousness version of astrology and numerology, then I also bring that into the session if you're open about that. I'm also available for mentoring, so that if you want to save some time, since I've been dealing with this for over 30 years, if you want to save some time, then I can help mentor you through this in your own study so that you can move even faster to the realization of this. So go to my website, and it also explains that. And you know who I'm talking to. You're ready. You know who I'm talking to. You're ready. So it's time for me and you. Me and you. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Just want you to know that. Okay. So I want to invite you to come. We're also doing this class in person. We got people here. It's great to have people show up as well as watch online. So those of you who are in the Denver area, by all means, come and join us. Go to my website to get the address and everything. So I would like to throw out to the group and also you online, what is one thing you heard tonight that you would like to remember more than anything else? What sticks out in your mind?
For me, it was the first thing. As purification begins to touch the most fundamental.
Speak loud from the brother.
Okay. It was the beginning.
Okay.
As purification begins to touch the most fundamental or most radical levels, the sweetness of peace begins to be remembered.
There you go. Thank you. Thank you. Anybody else so they can remember it? Anything?
I really like the questions. They sort of scare me in a way, but I think that in and of itself is something to sort of just lean into. And I like trusting that when I enter into all of the corners of my mind, that is the purification process.
Thank you.
And like what we read a couple of weeks ago, that is the flower unfolding, like that is the petals. And so it's really okay, and that's the way to let it pass, and for me to trust that it's serving my healing and my growth.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I would say similarly that the denial and the lie I'm telling myself is this day was not created by Holy Spirit as the ultimate day for my awakening.
Thank you.
Today, this moment is
Today.
the most ultimate creation and structure for my awakening.
That's right.
Now,
Everything that happened today was the perfect thing that happened today to help in the awakening in your self-realization, no matter what it looks like.
For me, it was projecting. I always thought projecting was horrible. And to realize that there is a positive note on projecting, where I could positively say, I'm going to project my love out there.
That's right.
And those dots have always been separate. I mean, all of a sudden it was like, oh, okay. So that was
Awesome.
And projection is a masculine characteristic, and reception is a feminine characteristic that we all have. You know what I'm saying? Think about it, you know.
So we have several online. So Elizabeth says that she was really impacted by the question, where am I lying to myself?
Where am I lying to myself?
You know, that one was huge. Deborah said, I don't care what you think about me. Your actions are okay with me. And then Demola says she wants to remember, peace to my foolishness.
Peace to my foolishness. That's from Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Deborah said again, you are in conflict if you do what you don't want to do.
That's right. That's right. That's what I was saying in your relationship thing. You know, and you could just ask, how can we both win? How can we come up with a win-win for both of us? And then see what happens. Just see what, you'd be amazed. Just asking the right question will do. All right, so I'm going to complete this with what it says you should say to yourself around those questions. Okay? Indeed, beloved friends, in the way of knowing, it is absolutely required that you pause often and look around you and say, I abide in the perfection of a loving universe. Nothing can occur by accident. Where I am in this moment must be the perfect place for me to be. Where I am in this moment must be the perfect place for me to be. How can I find the doorway to stillness within now? How can I find the doorway to stillness within right now? Where within me can I rest in peace and ask the Holy Spirit's guidance? Where in this moment am I clinging to another or to a thing? Where am I looking upon another person or another thing in this universe and claiming it is my possession? I abide in the perfection of a loving universe. I abide in the perfection of a loving universe. You abide in the perfection of a loving universe. You abide in the perfection of a loving universe. Nothing can occur by accident. Nothing can occur by accident. Nothing can occur by accident. Where I am in this moment must be the perfect place for me to be. Tell yourself that. Where I am in this moment must be the perfect place for me to be. I abide in the perfection of a loving universe. I abide in the perfection of a loving universe. I abide in the perfection of a loving universe. I abide in the perfection of a loving universe. I abide in the perfection of a loving universe. I abide in the perfection of a loving universe. I abide in the perfection of a loving universe. I abide in the perfection of a loving universe. I abide in the perfection of a loving universe. I abide in the perfection of a loving universe. We abide in the perfection of a loving universe. We abide in the perfection of a loving universe. We abide in the perfection of a loving universe. We abide in the perfection of a loving universe. We abide in the perfection of a loving universe. mighty companions. You all are so innocent and juicy and sweet and awesome. You abide in the perfection of a loving universe. You abide in the perfection of a loving universe. You abide in the perfection of a loving universe. We abide in the perfection of a loving universe. We abide in the perfection of a loving universe. We abide in the perfection of a loving universe. We abide in the perfection of a loving universe. We abide in the perfection of a loving universe. We abide in the perfection of a loving universe. We abide in the perfection of a loving universe. That's what time it is. Thanks for coming out. I appreciate y'all. Y'all awesome. Hugs are available. I love good juicy hugs. Go to my website, sign up for my contact list so I can keep you abreast on all the things I'll be doing. We also got one here up front. If you're here for the first time, love to have you on that contact list. Go to my website, www.earlpurdy.com. I appreciate y'all. Love you.
Thanks, Earl.
You are welcome.